Thanks to all the hardworking drivers across the U.S. from the Allen Len Company.
So he's driving south in the northbound lane.
So he's in the wrong lane
With a load of cattle.
With a full
live animal.
Full load of cattle. They have to shoot. They shoot the tires out, and they eventually shoot his windshield. And
with pellets hitting him in the chest.
And welcome to Trucking with OIDA. I'm Scott Thompson.
And I'm Ashley Blackford.
Just heard there from Jeff McConnell and James Mennella of Road Law, sharing a story that we're going to hear in just a bit.
Yes.
Good thing about this, Ashley, in the old show we had 14 minutes roughly, give or take, to talk to people and kind of wrap up.
We had a time limit.
We did have a time limit. Looking forward to this one because James and Jeff of Road Law, friends of the show.
Great guys.
Great
Love
guys.
talking to them.
Great advice. Helpful for people out there that when they need help.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to kind of getting to know them a little bit better and getting into some of these stories that they deal with. You can only imagine.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm sure they've seen it all.
They have probably seen it all and heard it all.
Yeah.
And done it all. So yeah, we'll get into all that with them as well. We'll also have some time here a little bit later to hit a few news items as well.
What's going on?
Yeah, for sure. But happy Friday, everybody.
Happy Friday. Go Chiefs.
Go Chargers. Exactly. Very
Man,
good.
you
Playing
are
in Brazil tonight.
Yeah, you're
I'm
not in the right territory
No,
here.
I am not. I am reminded of that every Sunday. Don't get me wrong. Let's not waste any more time here, Ashley. James Mennella and Jeff McConnell of Road Law. Let's get them on the line now. Let's not waste any more time and see how they're doing.
Wow.
Remind us of our early days on overnight radio.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
All-nighters.
No, we won't be going that long, we promise.
Midnight to 6, and then go back to work. Back to work at 9.
Gosh.
Wait a second. You did tell. Yeah. Let's.
Yeah.
Do you want to? Let's start there.
Yeah.
What's this midnight?
Completely live.
What's this midnight radio thing you're talking about?
Well, we started with Dave Nemo and the Road Gang Radio Network in about 1997 or 8, and part of our advertising campaign or budget, they allowed us to go on the radio and do live Q&A for like 15, 20 minutes or 30 minutes or something like that. And so we started doing that, and we were on one night, and Dave said, the switchboard's all lit up, and would you guys mind staying on? And so we ended up staying on from midnight, and I think we finally came off about 6 a.m. Stayed the whole show just doing Q&A with him. Guys calling in from truck stops and, mobile phones or whatever, and we ended up doing that quite a bit. And then
Did they have mobile phones? Did we have those then?
Yeah, they were pretty fresh.
Pretty fresh.
They were the size of a shoebox.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
At any rate, we would do overnight radio with him, and we'd go open truck stops with him, and speedway truck stops in Louisiana and Mississippi.
And you need to understand that, too, Scott. That was literally when they would open or christen a new truck stop in the Midwest and the South primarily. We would fly to the nearest airport commercially, rent a car, and drive to a truck stop and do live Q&A all night long. Drive back to the airport after that 6-hour stint, get on the plane, come back to Oklahoma City, the base, and come right back to the office.
Wait, so you guys were hanging out in truck stops from like midnight to 6 a.m.?
There were lines of people trying to ask questions.
Oh, my goodness.
And, they weren't vetted. We had no idea what they were going to ask. There were no metal detectors, so it's always interesting.
We had some quality time in some subway booths with the Remember the old ugly headsets or the earphones with the yellow yellow foam padding on them.
Did they at least give you a free footlong while you hung out in the booth?
Yeah.
No, we didn't get any free food out of the gig, but
oh my gosh.
we did pick up some clients.
What were the quality of those questions? Because you said you got a little bit of everything. I can only imagine at 4 a.m. what kind of questions you're fielding from people who are standing in a line at a truck stop.
That hour.
Maybe I'm judging too much.
Yeah.
No, they were pretty similar to some of the stuff. Why did I get stopped for that? Why have I got a violation for that?
Yeah.
Here's how am I going to fight this ticket? They would bring a copy of a ticket in and say, "What do you think about this?" I said, "Well, that is a familiar venue to us. I believe we know who the one of the assistant DAs is in that particular county, ironically, and generally they're pretty amenable to amending if you don't have a bad record." And they didn't want to talk about the court procedure, what we knew was going to be the most important topic. They wanted to talk about let's gripe about the officer. He wasn't professional. He treated me like a wild animal. Made me get out of the vehicle. I said, those are all, just like now, those are all really important factors. But let's try to take that unfortunate experience and maybe that untactful law enforcement officer, it does happen, let's take them out of the equation and let's get with the prosecuting attorney and for once in their life, not gripe about the citing officer, but let's put you, the driver, on this pedestal about, man, this guy is a deserved candidate of relief. Look at this drive record. He was professional. He was courteous. You don't have any bad notes on the back of your ticket, prosecutor, that the officer wrote. So we're respectfully requesting this charge to be amended to a non-moving violation, something that doesn't allocate points, yet allows this individual to still submit fines and costs in a timely manner. And, they're like, wow, okay. What's the old adage, more flies with honey than vinegar or something like that?
Yep.
So, don't start the conversation about griping about the law enforcement officer. That's not going to be effective in most cases. We found out, I would even say the hard way. It's just human nature, right? I mean, that's the prosecuting attorney. They got to listen to that all day. And why it may be very relevant, let's not start with it. And the facts of the case may be relevant. But again, if you've got a good drive record, man, I want to harp on that. I want to print it off and start bragging about it right in front of the judge. Your Honor, may I approach? I got a copy of James Mennella's drive record, which I probably wouldn't want, but I've got a copy of James Mennella's drive record, and we wanted to share this really important, valuable information. He's not a habitual offender. In fact, he has no convictions of any moving or non-moving violation for the last 36 months. Your Honor, that's unheard of. He drives 200,000 miles a year.
Yeah.
All those good points. And so you're already, going the high road rather than making it such a defensive arena that you're going to confront and you're going to, start really hammering on this law enforcement officer that they have to deal with all the time. And you usually get, sometimes even in those occasions where it may have been a tense situation, that officer is going to come around because everybody's had time to cool off. It's been weeks or months since this stop occurred.
Yeah.
And most of the time, there's not a lot of recollection about, let's face it, they do a lot of these stops, and there's not a lot of recollection about that. So it's better to start with, all those positive factors, I think.
Can we go back, Jeff and James, because you're talking about these sort of pieces of advice that you were giving out in a booth at a Subway and a truck stop in the middle of Louisiana back in 1997 or whatever year it was.
Or the Great American Truck Show, or what's the other truck shows? And we'd hit all these.
Mid-America Truck
Show, Great American Truck Show in Dallas.
Well,
anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, just with that in mind, can you take us back? Because these are lessons that you've obviously learned over the course of a career in doing this, and that's why we like talking to you, because you've got this advice and it stands the test of time in a lot of cases. But can you take us back? How did you both get into this, niche in particular? Because as attorneys, you could have gone any number of directions, I would assume. Why did you land here with road law doing what you do?
Well, that's a great question, Scott. I often ask myself that question.
Every day when I wake up. Yeah.
I had personally trained and had taken a lot of foreign language, Chinese and that sort of thing, and was going to actually go into some sort of international business transactions and whatnot, and made a couple of career choices and changes, and never went down that route, and ended up working at a firm. We did a little bit of traffic work, and that's where Jeff and I met, and we decided to take the traffic aspect and put a little different twist on it, and make a different model that we felt would be better for our potential clientele, and decided to strike out on our own. And
what year was that?
That was 1997.
Okay.
And so that's we broke out and knew about truck shows, and we knew about radio shows, and went with a overnight radio show and did some advertising. Had some really interesting commercials that they recorded for us, and got invited to do some on-air live broadcasts, and took question and answers, and really kind of build up a little bit of credibility with the listeners, and especially with the show host, who was 100% behind us and promoted us as to what we were offering and what we were able to do, and that really was a spark we needed to get going, and the machine's been rolling ever since.
Yeah.
And Scott, I did not have any international business experience.
Don't speak Mandarin or anything?
I did not speak Mandarin Chinese. I did not go to school in Beijing, and but I had eaten Chinese food.
Okay.
And
there you go.
So no, anyway, we had met. We worked together at more of a defense practice. I was doing before that. I'd done some insurance defense for some of the carriers. I won't say their names, but it's they're still in operation today. We were doing a lot of defense work for liability insurance companies, and man, that was fun. Probably more fun than this, but and I mean that facetiously and not seriously, because it was. You talk about triage and a grind. It was damn near every day that you were at the office, and it was something that brought a lot of experience. There was a lot of courtroom experience. There was a lot of that I really haven't had. People, everyone, you, Ashley, everybody. You have experiences. I'm not going to call them good or bad. They're just experiences, because they do add value, whatever those may be, whether you deem at the time they're good or bad. Eventually, they come around to just being an experience and something that gives you knowledge that you didn't have before. So it's kind of a positive thing, how it normally turns out. But so all that experience, and we were like, hey, we can do this. I like defense work. I like the courtroom work. Gosh, that's the live radio shows and all the in-person stuff. That would just seem second nature to do that and to be able to discuss this. And then it really, people seem to appreciate the information. And unlike a civil case, like where you sue people, our cases, you really get, I'll call them almost immediate, a remedy. You're within a 30-day window normally of a disposition of your case. So there's a lot of, finished gratification there that, hey, this is over. It was a good disposition. You get a lot of that. You don't have to wait years. But I like defense work. I do. I like it a lot.
Yeah. I'm curious how long, obviously you go to law school. I assume, you didn't get into the weeds of trucking and the trucking industry. How long did it take you guys to really feel like you had a handle on this industry, which has so much to it?
Yeah.
It was about 8:30 this morning that I kind of got the hang of it.
You just had a handful of clients, their hearts just dropped into their stomachs.
30 years, 31 years. God. Yeah. Oh no, just kidding. Go ahead.
It's really an aspect of it is a little niche of dealing with federal motor carrier safety regulations. That aspect of it, that body of information, is not necessarily large. Really, when it comes down to it, civil procedure, criminal procedure, the various procedure, every court's different. I mean, every court has local rules, these sort of things. Really everything in most aspects of whether it's, traffic infractions or, regular criminal cases, there's a procedure involved. So the procedure is very similar across the board. It's just that you're dealing with different charges. You might be dealing with speeding tickets. You might be dealing with, heavier misdemeanor cases and that sort of thing. So the actual body of what we deal with, and you guys have heard it probably a million times, where we keep talking about the little green and white Federal Motor Carrier Safety Regulation pocketbook that probably everybody saw in truck driving school. Maybe, you get one at a safety seminar. Maybe you carry one around with you. Our actual little area that we work in is essentially the one section, 383.51, where we've got, several pages of, what we call not what we call, but what's called the major violations, the serious traffic violations. We've got, railroad violations and these sort of things. Predominantly, that section in and of itself probably encompasses, I would say, at least 2/3 of our practice, because, CDL holders in general, when you get those types of violations and you pay those kinds of violations, that's where you're getting the quickest response from a Department of Motor Vehicles in terms of a disqualification or suspension of your driving privileges. So that's kind of the primary body of work that we deal with in order to try to keep guys qualified to drive.
And if you've ever been, Scott or Ashley, I know if you've ever been to a brick-and-mortar Department of Motor Vehicle and had to sit down with a bureaucrat or a hearing officer, I know how enriching that experience can be, and really how quick and efficient all of that process
is. That's what they're known for. Yeah,
8 or 9 minutes, you're in and out.
Yep.
Now, that's not true, but think about doing that from California to Maine and from Washington State to Florida in every Department of Motor Vehicles. Now, again, that process, and then matching that with the driver's home state, so you've got 2 different motor vehicles that you're dealing with, and you're trying to make them correspond with each other. And sometimes they'll say, well, we need it electronically from the court, or sometimes they'll say, well, you have the resident bring the physical certified paperwork in. I mean, that type of coordination is, nobody wants to do it, but it is incredibly important, and it is a niche. And we've got some ins with a lot of the DMVs, people that we've known a long, long time that have, their special phone numbers that I will never give those out. That's like a secret recipe that you've been handed down. So anyway, those are very helpful folks, and bless their heart, they work very, very hard. I'll say what we battled more, and maybe I should rephrase that as just educating more. Re-educating more is district attorney's offices or municipal prosecutors, because for the last 2 decades, they have been pounded when they go to these continuing legal education courses that are mandatory for all lawyers, or they'll have particular, maybe special district attorney, National Association of District Attorney meetings where they assemble and they talk about various factors, and they have speakers. And some of these speakers are from that state Department of Motor Vehicle. They'll come in from the legal department and they'll say, thou shalt not help amend, change a Class A driver traffic ticket. Because if you do, DA or assistant DA, you'll lose this state's federal highway money. And they may not say that, but it comes across what the DAs are hearing is, don't do that.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a welcome message, because if you're a DA, an assistant DA, and you're new in the office, well, guess what calendar or docket that you draw? You draw the traffic docket. And it's just something to cut your teeth on, because it's great courtroom experience. You get to go through all the motions and hearings, and but if you hear somebody tell you can't do that, I mean, it's a great scapegoat if you're not really listening, and then you can throw that out. Oh gosh, I'm not to blame. It's not my fault.
Yeah,
I would love to help you. It's not our policy not to help you, but I can't help you because we'll lose our federal highway money for the state, and I can't take the backlash for that. So our job has become increasingly to send out information in writing, not published by the National Association of Defense Attorneys, but by the National Association of District Attorneys, publications that they publish. Take the time to draft and publish a quick reference masking guide. So this word masking is where I'm going with this. And you think if National Association of District Attorneys, they take the time to get together and draft and publish a quick reference masking guide, that a light bulb might come on to any DA's office around the country to say, whoa, my National Association is drafting and publishing this 4-page quick reference masking guide that tells me when I can and can't help amend, change a Class A driver.
Yeah.
You would think that would be some signal that there's not some strict prohibition or moratorium on helping a Class A driver, because that law doesn't exist.
Right.
I agree there needs to be a factual basis to do it, and I'm more than happy to crawl in the ring and give you 4 or 5 factual bases why you can do this. But don't sit there and tell me that it's illegal and not your policy. You're just being lazy, ADA, Assistant DA. I'm going to say it. You're being lazy, and it's a great thing to be able to lose your traffic calendar, because those aren't the shiniest, most fun cases to deal with.
Sure.
And now maybe you get to do some more capital punishment cases or capital crime cases, or maybe more salacious misdemeanor charges or sexy criminal charges. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's not fair. That's not fair to do that, because we all stood in the room and raised our hand and said we're gonna swear to uphold the Constitution of the United States and actually read the law. We're a nation of laws, so damn it, read them.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my soapbox for the day.
Well, and you're laying out something, Jeff, that I think is important to kind of emphasize in why road law is such, is so valuable when you're looking for help and you need help in these cases, because, as you point out there, that landscape, the way that things have been kind of changed over the past few decades, how they are now, again, which jurisdictions are going to be more difficult to deal with, which ones are going to be a little easier to deal with. All these things. And you're kind of answering the question maybe here that I'm about to ask, but, lots have changed. Lots of things have changed over the past 30 years is the way, and that's just the way life is. But in terms of what we're talking about here, what has been the biggest change, I suppose, dating back to 1997 when you were, fielding those questions at truck stops? What has changed, I guess, with the overall landscape in that time?
Well, I'd say the overall change is that we're having to work a lot harder in order to get the same kind of relief that we were getting early on. And, the whole story about the masking is probably the biggest issue and the biggest impetus that we face these days. And it's not if you actually read the black letter law, the federal part of it, we're just not supposed to hide convictions. You can't stand at the podium and plead guilty or no contest, do traffic school, go on a diversion program, whatever it might be. The whole goal of it is to not hide convictions, so that these things will report to somebody's motor vehicle record. And so, as Jeff said, there's no moratorium on making factually based amendments to these charges. But what we run up against is just the sheer, it's not only the prosecutors, we've got the court clerks who are being educated that, we can't help people. And then, it trickles over to the judges, and it's, it's almost like a misinformation campaign to, there was a court date the other day where the prosecutor was too scared to amend the charge. And so,
I had to drive. I had to drive 40 miles one way.
So Jeff goes to court. Prosecutor's too scared to amend the charge. Pull out the National District Attorneys Association quick reference guide to masking. The judge asks for a copy of it because the judge wants to help people if they're worthy of help. And a light bulb goes on that says, gee, I think we can probably make factually based amendments and not run afoul of all this nonsense we've heard about masking.
Right.
So what it comes down to at the end of the day is is that we have to work a lot harder to try to get the same results that we were getting early on, because in the late 90s, early 2000s, if you had a good driving record, if you had a good court, if you had a good attitude with the officer and there were no bad notes, you generally could obtain some sort of an amendment or a dismissal for somebody based on those factors. And we talk about it every day of the week with clients, just because we keep a database of all the places that we work. So, we don't want to take your money just to call you back in, 7 days and say, hey, listen, I talked to the prosecutor and, he's a total masking fanboy.
Yeah.
And, they won't amend the charge for you. So, here's your options. So we try to educate up front, and we try to give information to people so they can make an informed decision before they ever even hire us. We want to get a good result for the client just as much as the client expects a good result from hiring us. So that's really what we've tried to do over the past 25 plus years. Is we're very results driven. Still, if somebody wants their day in court and they want to come and have a bench trial or a jury trial, that's still an option. But in the overall scheme of things, if somebody doesn't want to come back to court and we're just trying to mitigate or minimize damage to a driving record, we need to be able to say, hey, I think we can get that done for you, versus just, having information at hand. And I mean, it's not uncommon that we hear it from drivers and other clients that call us that say, hey, I hired somebody and they said they could do X, Y, or Z, but they couldn't pull it off. And, we can get in our database and say, well, yeah, we could have told you that if you would have called us.
Yeah.
You didn't need to waste your money, hiring somebody who said, hey, I'll do everything legally possible for you. That's kind of been the way we've operated since we started. We don't want to take your money unless we think we can help you.
We're on the line with James Mennella and Jeff McConnell, the guys at Road Law. And James, you just mentioned about doing this for, about 25 years. I'm curious, is there a case that's come across your guys' desk that is one that you just will always remember, always stands out?
Yeah, there's a case that happened, I'm going to say probably 25 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, it's sort of funny, but not really funny. But it was it involved a client who had taken some drugs, some sort of methamphetamines or something around Memphis, Tennessee. Got paranoid and thought somebody was chasing him. But long story short, he ended up driving the wrong way down Interstate 35 down here in Oklahoma City.
So he's driving south in the northbound lane.
That's not good.
He's in the wrong lane
with a load of cattle,
with a full
live animals,
full load of cattle. They have to shoot. They shoot the tires out, and they eventually shoot his windshield. And
with pellets hitting him in the chest,
right?
In his white T-shirt.
His T-shirt, and so that particular case, in and of itself, for me at least, is the most memorable, just from the standpoint of we had an interesting photograph.
Well, what was that? What was that phone call like? What was the? Did you get a phone call in the middle of the night?
I recall, I think James Noda called me, and then the family had bonded him out of Oklahoma County Jail because he was out on a pretty substantial bond. So he had some financial ability to move around. So he's out of jail with his family, and they knew about road law. And Oklahoma County Jail is very close to our old office at that time. They brought him over in this bloody, shot-ridden T-shirt, and I came back to the office and met him in the office. And I'm like, man, I think you should have gone to maybe a hospital first before you came. You came here, but he was still probably under effects of whatever he'd been on. But
there was a picture we had of him, and he was standing in our office, and he had his hands up, and he had shotgun pellets all on his bottom of his forearms.
They didn't take him to the hospital. No medical.
I don't know. They might have cleaned him up, but I don't remember whether
they were pretty mad at him.
But
well, yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
At any rate, he the offer from the prosecutor was 20 to do.
20 to do. That was the offer. 20 years to do in prison. That's what they wanted. That was the plea.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
that ain't much of a plea, man.
No.
I remember.
Step back.
I remember Jeff said, "My client's not going to jail," or something like that.
He's not going to jail. This is first defense, guys.
We had a very liberal judge, and she, I guess it was a blind plea because the prosecutor wanted massive jail time.
No recommendation at all.
And so long story short is the guy got off on a suspended sentence. He didn't do any jail time other than what he spent in the county jail, and he had to buy the officer a new pair of boots because the officer cut his boots up or something on somewhere on the truck, or broken glass or something like that. But
wait a second.
That was.
Wait a second. Is that? This is. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know if you guys knew that. I'm not a lawyer.
Thing?
Is that a common thing? Hey, you gotta buy this deputy a new pair of
restitution. I don't think I've ever had to buy equipment before. If the client had to buy equipment for, maybe there's a general fund that goes to with fines and costs, but not specifically mentioned in a plea agreement where that specific equipment. It was crazy. I mean, it took a year to resolve that thing, but I think the ADA, I think he resigned after that. He was so incensed that the judge gave that plea, but it was a lengthy probation. It may be like 5 to 8 years, and the guy complied. He was never got in trouble again, never had to go to prison, but 20 to do on a first offense. Yeah. And let me just add, there were no animals harmed in that situation.
That's good. Yeah.
But I was going to ask, nobody else was hurt except for that.
Nobody else was hurt. By the grace of God,
they didn't lose a single cow on that whole.
Didn't lose a single.
But but it was a seriously dangerous event. Of what was going on, so we laugh about it a little bit, but in the overall scheme of things, it could have been horribly. It could have been a very bad situation.
I didn't think James was going there. I thought he was going with the guy that relatively new driver within 6 months of graduating and coming onto the road, and he was going through a fast food restaurant either for self-service or for delivery. But he his turn was a little wide, and he caught one of the landscaping boulders underneath the rear axle. And of course, I'm going to assume that if you catch a boulder underneath the rear of your trailer axle, you might know that, or reasonable drivers should know that.
Oh, you would think so.
But he just kept going.
Yeah. It wasn't hard to find him because there was the boulder that was there, and he also had a tree that was stuck to the
I think I remember reading this story, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
To the DOT bumper, he was dragging a tree, and the rock was stuck up under the front side of the axle, and so it wasn't hard to locate him when leaving the scene of the landscape accident. But that was another one. There's an old Pennsylvania case that was early on. Yeah. Many drivers may know if you get off the Pennsylvania Turnpike and you're rolling at 80,000 pounds. A lot of these little places, the roadways aren't rated for that kind of weight. So we had a guy that literally called us from a phone booth. They still had those back in the late 90s.
Yeah, explain that for our younger listeners. That's
what?
It's a specific place where there was an
actual phone booth
with a wire.
Where you open the door and you had to go in and close the door.
So the guy calls from the phone booth, and he's literally crying for the most part, and he said, "I missed my exit." And so I got off the turnpike to make a U-turn to come back around, and I got stopped. And I'm holding this piece of paper, and it says I owe the state of Pennsylvania $42,000.
What?
Ooh,
yeah, it's $1 a pound.
Too.
$1 a pound. It's $1 a pound, and the roadway wasn't rated for 80,000. So he says I owe $42,000, and he was just panicking, freaking out.
Yeah.
And so that was another interesting early case that we had.
Mm-hmm.
And in both those cases, the boulder in the parking lot and that one.
Yeah.
Do you remember the resolution? Were you able to kind of smooth things over in the end?
Well, nobody went to jail for the boulder. I think restitution was mandatory.
Sure.
Of course, we had to put the landscaping back, or at least pay them make them whole. So that's always key in any accident, whether it's with a boulder or with another vehicle or single vehicle or damage to anything that's owned by state or municipality.
Got to make it right.
Guardrail. Where's your insurance? Make restitution. We'll provide that to the court. Everybody's made whole. Let's go on down the road.
Right.
But so that was good. I think he may have been again at that time. I don't think there was a masking issue, so he may have been allowed to be on probation at that time.
Right.
And then I'm sure he was successful and complied with the defensive driving course and all those requirements. I'm pretty sure we saved him of a conviction.
But the important thing to remember about these accident cases, especially with the ones where you hit something and you go, is that, today everything's on video for the most part.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So someone's either filming you do it, or there's a camera somewhere. Back then, we didn't have all the video footage. People didn't have dash cams, and people didn't, weren't recording stuff and that sort of thing. But the bottom line is, on these accident cases, and it doesn't have to be attended property, so to speak. I mean, if you leave the scene of an accident, you're looking at a 1-year disqualification of your CDL privileges. But the real life aspect of that is that nobody's going to employ you.
No.
Yeah.
If you've been convicted, I mean, you can get your CDL back after 12 months. But once that entry is on your driving record, leaving the scene of an accident, I mean, you're just not employable. It's just, there's not a whole lot of people that want to take the risk. And that's, from our brothers and sisters on the other side that are doing plaintiff's work, suing people. If you employ somebody who then gets in another accident, you have a whole aspect of, negligent retention, negligent hiring. You're talking about big dollar verdicts. So, they're very sensitive, to those kinds of things. And that's, why we always harp on the fact, trying to keep your motor vehicle record as clean as you can.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and, I think that's, again, why you two guys are great on these topics, because you've got advice and you've got years of experience behind it. Some of the advice is as simple as, don't do meth and get behind the wheel of a commercial truck or run over a boulder and take off.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, I would imagine most of your cases are a little more subdued and kind of by the book.
Right.
Sure.
For people listening to this, common sense, I think, goes a long way. But, and I'll ask each of you this, what piece of advice would you give for a truck driver listening right now as they navigate so many things in their daily lives on the road, just trying to make a livelihood? When it comes to this kind of stuff, what piece of advice would you give them?
Scott, I would say, the thing that I want to say, I think be the most important would be at a scene of a stop of law enforcement, just be professional, be tactful, be courteous. You can call road law after a stop, but if you've already tied our hands with some negativity that the citing officer has written on the back of their copy of your citation that they hand personally to the district attorney's office, we're screwed.
Yeah.
We're totally done. I mean, you can hire us, we can do everything we can, but if those negative notes are there, then usually there's not much leeway. There's not going to be much of a recommendation. Most important, be courteous. That's all you got to do. Be professional, be courteous, think of the long goal. Think of, what is the goal? What are you trying to do? We're not trying to be confrontational at the scene. I understand it's a very, very tense opportunity when you're stopped. There is a lot of anxiety, and we certainly get that. It's a scary situation. Just remain professional and be professional. Don't allow those bad notes to go on the back of those citations.
Yeah.
Don't tie your lawyer's hands.
James, you want to answer in Chinese?
Well, it's been a while, so I'm gonna pass.
Give it a go. It'll be
part
fine.
of it, but
let's wait. The only thing I think he remembers is all the profanity. So you better be careful.
Hey, we'd like to hear those. Go ahead.
Yeah. So basically, I'll try to nutshell mine because I have a lot of things that in my mind. And the first thing is that, this is your livelihood. This is the profession that you've chosen to do. And what you have to understand is that there are a lot of pitfalls out there, whether you're in a commercial vehicle or whether you're just, in your own personal vehicle. And so you really need to take to heart that this is what you do to make money, to support your family, whatever it is. So, when we get to the laundry list of things that we see here every day of the week, alcohol and drugs, number one,
3-digit speed tickets while you're on vacation.
Excessive speeding. I mean, you have one motor vehicle record. You have one driver's license. You may have the privileges of a Class A CDL, a motorcycle endorsement, whatever it is, but you still only have one driver license and you have one motor vehicle record. So you can't be on vacation in a rental car doing 120 miles an hour through the state of Georgia. The other big one that we see, the cell phones. I mean, the cell phone texting and wireless devices are now serious traffic. They're serious traffic violations, and it doesn't matter whether you're in the big rig or whatever it is. So we must do probably, 25 to 50 cell phone cases a week.
Yeah.
Put the phone down. Get a hands-free device. Get a cell phone holder, but don't hold the phone to your ear. Don't text, while you're driving. But the overall, I guess the overall message is this is your livelihood. You got to be so careful, today, because it's so easy to blemish your record or to, with drugs and alcohol, to get into the clearinghouse and get into that whole. I mean, that's a whole different rabbit hole of a different conversation topic that nobody wants to be involved in if you don't have to be. But treat it like it was a brick of gold or something. I mean, having those credentials and having that ability to drive and do what you do that's your main focus. So you got to stay away from the things that are going to have those privileges taken away from you.
Yeah. Great advice.
Yeah. One last thing, guys. For anybody listening who may need it, where can people go for more information?
Well, they can call us. We have a toll-free line. It's 888-276-8000. You can also go to our website at roadlaw.net, and we have a function on there where you can contact us through that, and email will get sent to either Jeff or myself, and we can answer you via email. And predominantly, that's the best way to get us.
Yeah. Let me say it like our old radio days, Ashley.
Yeah.
Call Road Law, 888-276-8000. That's 888-276-8000. Road Law.
You still got it.
We'll throw some sound effects in there and we'll make it sound real snazzy. Some 1990s, mid-1990s sound effects.
There you go.
I like it.
If I can dig up some of the old advertising
pretty bad.
I would love to hear those, actually.
That would be good.
Yeah, send those our way.
You have to have a cassette player, though. So I don't know if you remember.
I'm sure there's one of those.
We'll find one in the basement somewhere.
I remember those. Yeah, maybe a vinyl around here somewhere. I don't know.
8-track. We're not going back to 8-track though. We're not going that far.
That's before my time. Yeah.
I think
one of the old recording tubes. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right.
There you go.
Well, guys, thank you so much for your time. I do appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Really enjoyed it.
At Truck Stop, we've built a better load board for carriers like you. Sign up today and access over 600,000 loads on the most trusted online load board. Learn why the best in the business rely on Truck Stop to make more money and start driving your profit today.
Dispatch, I picked up that load of steel, so I'm ready to roll.
Sounds good. Remember, we're getting paid by weight, so make sure to use a cat scale.
I wouldn't weigh anywhere else.
Forget misaccuracy when you're truck on a cat scale.
House products provide your diesel with total performance and protection. Use Diesel Defender for a full system cleaning. Start treatment early with Diesel Treat to prevent gelling all season and protect yourself from winter emergencies with Diesel Lifeline. Stay moving with Howes.
Penske is the trusted source for quality used trucks. Whether you search our website, call our sales staff, or bid at our online auction, you are sure to find the right used truck for your business. Visit PenskeUsedTrucks.com to view our inventory and learn more.
Are you tired of the IRS following you around like a dark cloud? Call 888-557-4020 and get your life back.
And we're back. Our thanks to James Mennella and Jeff McConnell. Great conversation with those guys.
Always.
Yes, very
Always
interesting.
enjoy talking to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's going on this weekend, Scott?
Nothing. I don't think. Chargers and Chiefs tonight. We were talking earlier.
Brazil.
I'm a Chargers fan.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
I'm a Cowboys fan.
A long
first,
suffering.
so
well, at least you've won Super Bowls in your past.
I'm watching the Netflix documentary on that. Mind you, I was a child when that happened, but it is
Also,
exciting
thanks
to
for rubbing
see.
that in as well too. I'm a Chargers fan. Unfortunately, I shouldn't say unfortunately. I enjoy it. I like the team, obviously.
And they've never won a Super Bowl.
Nope, they've been to one. It's been 30 years.
You know what? When it comes to that, I'm like, I want those teams to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
The Bills, they've never won.
The Bills they've never won. They've been
gone several times
against your Cowboys in the 90s,
yeah.
famously, several times, yeah.
Yeah.
The Bills, I think if I had to pick, the Bills, I think would be they're the favorite for a team that needs to get over the hump. Yep.
We like him.
Yeah, Josh Allen, great quarterback.
Yeah. Should be good.
It should be good. Go Chargers. We'll see how that pans out.
Chiefs.
You may see a very sad Scott on Monday, but such is life as a Chargers fan. Let's handle some business here, Ashley, before we move on and right off into the weekend sunset, as it were. Hate to start here with some homework, but it is important. We talk about this all the time. Our listeners may recall a little while back when we mentioned that OIDA was sending out letters to the governors of 43 states urging them to stop issuing non-domiciled CDLs while state and federal officials work on a review of essentially the entire system to find out what's not working, maybe also to find out what is working, although I think it's more the latter there, or the former rather. This was a direct follow-up here to a similar letter to Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, urging him and the department to take similar action. And as we stated before, this is first and foremost a safety concern, since we're not entirely sure whether states or federal regulators are capturing information that should disqualify someone from getting a CDL, mainly because the information isn't being shared or isn't even accessible in some of those cases because it has to come from other countries. So we've got a call to action now from OIDA asking members to reach out to their governor's offices to make sure that they have read the letter, that they understand the letter, that they understand this is an important issue that they need to pay attention to and take action on. The more the better on this, as always. And the best and easiest place we have mentioned before to do that and start this process is at fightingfortruckers.com. A lot easier than it may seem. So
very much,
hop on there, send out a quick email or letter, and let your governor know why this issue is so important.
Yeah. A few ELDs have been added to the revoked list by FMCSA. TT-ELD PT30, ELOG.
Oh, that rolls off the tongue.
It rolls off the tongue, yeah. ELOG 42 and Renaissance ELD, if you have any of those. They've been revoked due to the company's failure to meet the minimum requirements. Motor carriers have up to 60 days to replace the revoked ELDs. Anyone who has one of these devices should begin using paper logs or logging software to record their hours. You have until November 3rd to find a compliant replacement.
We're getting a lot of these, it feels like.
Yeah, it does seem like there's
recent
a
months.
lot. And yeah, it just seems odd.
Yeah, well, it's the self-certification process that is a big part of this, I think. And as we keep seeing these ELDs get thrown up on that list, there, a hassle for people that have those for sure. Get on that if you have one of those ELDs in your truck right now. We spoke, actually, kind of speaking of ELDs and equipment and technology and how it all can be connected and perhaps causing problems some way or another. We spoke about this on yesterday's show with Artie Crawford of the National Motor Freight Traffic Association, but it does bear repeating. They are hosting a 3-part online training event that starts next Wednesday, September 10th. This one is tailored specifically for owner-operators and small fleets. Good advice there on staying safe, again, in a cyber world, a world that's increasingly connected and increasingly fraught with pitfalls there as well. There is a fee. I think it's $49.99 per person. For more information, head to nmfta.org, and you'll see the information there. But our friends there doing good work, making sure that everybody's up to date and up to speed on how to stay safe. The people out there are trying to get your information and trying to cause havoc. And
it would definitely be helpful.
Come together and stop them if we can.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Less than a month remains to register for Truck to Success. This 3-day education series is put on by OOIDA. It'll go over everything you need to know about becoming an owner-operator. It's held in Blue Springs, Missouri from October 21st through the 23rd. If you can't attend in person, there is a Zoom option. Registration deadline for that is October 20th, but the registration for in-person is October 1st, so few weeks away.
Yeah.
For more information, you can check out ooida.com, click on the menu, education, Truck to Success.
And also, I think trucktosuccess.com, the website there works as well, too.
Didn't know that.
A little bit easier than all the dashes there for sure.
Yes, definitely.
But yeah, great event. Looking forward to that. We'll both at least be there. And
I'll be there for the breakfast at least.
You'll be there for the bacon.
Talked about it before.
We have talked about it.
The absolute best.
You can probably just swing by the hotel anytime you want.
No, but honestly, though, it actually was really helpful as someone like totally new to the trucking world.
Yeah.
It was like super helpful to learn. And I have no
understand all the ins and
ambition to be an owner-operator, but it was very helpful just to learn all the ins and outs of it.
Yeah, and that's what it's designed for. It's designed for anybody of all, and the bacon, of all experience levels to go and find out what it entails for sure.
Yeah. Yep. And if I had $1.7 billion, I would buy whoever made that bacon.
Oh, okay.
Hire them.
You would
not buy them.
I was going to say, let's not get in the habit of buying people. I mean, you probably could.
I would hire.
You would hire them as your private chef
for that amount. Yes.
You would hire a private bacon chef.
Yep.
Would that person only make bacon for you?
No. I'd have a host of other things.
What if that's the only thing they can do?
You know what though? Judge by how good I've talked this up so much. Anybody who comes to Truck to Success and tries the bacon, they're going to be like, "This is."
What if the bacon person doesn't work there anymore? What if
hope
the bacon
they do.
is
It's been a
subpar?
few years.
Are you going to be very disappointed? If
I will.
The bacon
I
is
will
subpar?
go and I will let you guys know. I will update our listeners.
We'll have a bacon update. A bacon update. Can we get some sound effects for that too? I don't know what that would be.
Hey, I can bring it in here.
Yeah, well, that doesn't quite, it won't translate too well over the microphones. But yeah, the Powerball, $1.7 billion.
Like, what would you even do with that?
I think it was like $740 million or something after taxes. If you take the lump sum, right? Yeah. Which, I mean, still is a lot of money. Yeah, I don't know. I'm such a simple person. I think all I think about is like being able to pay off my bills and pay off the house and pay off, this and that.
I know. I'd be like, get an appointment with the bank, figure out the best way to.
That's an unfathomable amount.
I know. I don't even know how you'd wrap your head around it.
Yeah. Or what you would even buy. What would be your first purchase?
Maybe
Don't say bacon.
No.
Please don't say bacon.
I'm really not even that big of a bacon person, but it sounds like I am. Probably a house.
Yeah.
With a pool.
Would you buy a new house?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'd probably just pay off my house. I don't even know what I would do.
Oh, see, no, I'd want to move.
I don't know what I would do. I would travel a lot. I do know that.
Yeah. Would you quit your job?
I mean, I love it here so much, Ashley. $750 million is not enough to walk away from.
I didn't think it would be. From
this place. That's the thing. You can't even fathom. Again, I don't think you can fathom what you would do in that situation because it is
I think it'd be so boring
unfathomable.
To not work. Although I'm sure with that amount of money, you could find a few hobbies.
You could find some things to do, I think. Yeah.
Traveling would be amazing, though. Yeah.
It would be amazing. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, good luck. Are you going to buy a ticket? You're not going to win if you don't buy a ticket, though.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I don't even know. I've never bought a Powerball.
Oh, really?
I wouldn't even know how to go about doing it.
I bought a couple in the past week, and it's basically just like taking the money and lighting it on fire.
Yeah.
But, if you don't play, you can't win.
I'll keep my, $3?
$2 per ticket, yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, you keep that money.
Yep.
I'll enjoy my $750 million after take home lump sum, and I will share with you. Today's episode of Trucking with OOIDA was brought to you by a dedicated team of people that includes Jim Fetzer, Keegan White, Tennille Flick, and Kim Boren.
Got thoughts? We'd love to hear them. Call us at 1-800-324-6856 and leave us a message. Or you can send us an email to podcast@ooida.com, and we might include it on the show.